Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Fatima, and I am the nurse manager here at Mother's Milk Bank, overseeing our donor services department and also providing clinical support to our hospital cares program. Thank you so much all for joining us today for this webinar. Um, we're especially excited for today's webinar, given the fact that it is Human Milk Donation Month. This is a really special month to drive more awareness and recognition around the importance of donor milk and where donor milk goes and the impact that it has on families, babies, and communities. So just to quickly, mention that, the Human Milk Donation Month is a time to celebrate and increase awareness around milk donation and to also recognize the incredible impact that donor milk has on vulnerable babies and also families. This is really an opportunity for us to increase the awareness of the importance of donation, just like blood donation is important, milk donation is also important, as this allows us to serve the babies in the community, provide donor milk to all of our 160 hospital partners throughout California and out of state, and that number is only growing. So thank you all for your participation in this webinar, and a big thanks to Estelle for being here today with me for this webinar. Today's session the topic is from pump to freezer, staying donation ready. This is really designed to give the community practical evidence-based tips to help safely collect, store, and ship milk. And also it allows you to build, pumping routines that is manageable with your current schedule, busy schedule that you have as a mother. And yes, and I'd like to again welcome Estelle to the session today. She is an international board certified lactation consultant who works both in the inpatient setting and also has her own practice, her private practice. She brings a wealth of knowledge and hands-on experience supporting families with pumping and breastfeeding. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all her insight and knowledge and tips that she has to offer. I'm here to learn just like everyone else. So thank you, Estelle, for being here. Yes, it's wonderful to have you join me.
Thank you, Fatima.
You're welcome. So let's see here. Let's get started with, I just want to note that we'll keep today's session interactive by allowing about 10 minutes at the end of the session for questions. So please feel free to jot your questions down and we'll go over them at the end of the session. We're giving about 10 minutes towards the end here. So Estelle, we'll get started with one of the most important topics, foundation of safe milk handling, and that is, how to properly clean your pump parts. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you, and please.
So, hi, everybody, and thank you for being here. We're going to start with an important question. It's the difference in between cleaning and sterilization. So, it goes together. It's not like one or the other, it goes together. And cleaning is basically getting your parts and then removing all the visual debris and milk left over in the bottles or like your pumping parts. It's really highly encouraged to use a basin or like a bowl that you can fill out with warm water and soap, and then you use a brush and then you remove all the debris, everything that is left in the bottle or the pumping parts. And then the sterilization is the process that will remove all the bad germs that may contaminate your milk. We want to keep in mind that when you are pumping for the Mother's Milk Bank, this milk will go to vulnerable babies. And we want to protect them, and they are doing a wonderful job of screening and all of that, but then we want to bring a safe milk. this milk will be treated, but we want to bring a high quality milk and well pumped. So the sterilization is, so of course, you're going to clean your bottles and your pot every time you pump. After every session of pumping, then you're going to clean it. And then what is the recommendation is to sterilize once a day.
Yes.
So now how you sterilize, it's you have like different options for sterilization. Yeah. So number one, and my preferred one, because it's the easiest, then it's a pot of hot water, boiling water, and then you place your pot in it. That's the easiest, because it doesn't require like a huge amount of like fancy stuff.
It's fancy setup. All the extra gadgets and tools that are out there now.
Exactly. It's easy. You have that in your kitchen, and then there's also the steaming process and also the dishwasher one. So you can place, and the dishwasher will clean and sterilize, but you have to make sure that your pumping parts are okay with that. So you need to read about your pump and your pumping part, depending on the brand. And you want to make sure also that when you are washing in your dishwasher, you are using like the specific tray, because your bottle can flip upside down and fill with dirty water. So you don't want that.
And then debris, right? Sometimes there's a collection of food particles or whatever that gets collected in your dishwasher. And so that's a good point.
Yeah, and whatever you are like washing at the same time, plates and stuff. Also, you can lose. I don't know if you can see it, but you can
see perfectly
your little parts. So, yeah, it's easier, but it might be a little challenging.
Yeah.
So,
Estelle, can I actually just with the valve that you just showed us there? I know there's a film that typically goes over that. Is that the piece there? I didn't see it fully. I just saw the bottom part. So once you remove that, does it have the little film on there or no? Not that one, right?
This one is a well-known brand. And
is that Spectra?
Yes, that's the Spectra one. You have like the baby Buddha and all of those, like it's just like smaller, it's like clear, it could be different colors. One thing that I really like want to show, it's when you use the Medela products. Their valve is slightly different. So this one is a hand pump, but you can find this valve as well on the Medela Symphony, which is the hospital grade.
Hospital grade pump. Yes.
Sometimes you need those one when you have a preemie baby, or like you are like a mainly pumping. And then what I often see with the family that I go and see at their house, then sometimes they don't know, or they forget, because it's a little hard to disconnect. Yes. And they forget to disconnect this part. But not only that, you have this
that little membrane or sheet there, right?
Yes. And this little membrane, and I remember like several years ago when I pumped for the first time, I didn't know about that. And I can't tell you how many I lost.
Yes. Yeah. And people are afraid to remove it. They think it's going to disrupt the pump, but it's actually so important to remove that piece and wash.
Exactly, because you have those like little holes here, and then behind you have that, and then you want to clean very deep inside. So that's those little pieces that you cannot get that in the dishwasher, because you lose it 100%.
Yeah.
And then when you place it back, then you need to make sure that it flaps very well against the...
That's perfect, yeah.
Yes, because otherwise it can affect the way that you pump.
Yes, so, and actually, so one thing that comes to mind, I've had this question before, is with that membrane, sometimes families are concerned about it melting or being destroyed when they boil it.
So boiling, so every time you see that it's not coming back, and usually it's made for, and then you always have like this layer paper with everything you buy, that it should say that how to sterilize it.
Okay.
But Mainly it's okay. Mainly it's okay.
Yeah.
What you want to see, it's like after several pumping sessions, then it starts and to kind of like not being well sealed. Same thing for those one. So basically the Spectra one, but any pump that you use this like duck bill, then you want
Yeah.
to have a good sealing here. And that's a very important point. It's to let it dry on. You want like a towel, a clean towel. So the area where you're gonna sterilize needs to be cleaned, and then you put a paper towel or like a clean
Washcloth.
washcloth, and then you let it dry. You don't put that on a spike or anything. You just like let it dry flat, and then once it's dry, then you put it back together. You don't want to put it back together while it's wet, because we want all the parts to be dry and then being put together. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to touch it with your hands. And so anytime you're going to touch your part, you want to wash your hand before with water and soap. Okay.
Correct.
Because that, like, if you come and you go and pet the dog and then you come and touch your part, all the sterilization process is gone, right? So you want to have clean hands before starting.
Yeah, no, very important. I mean, I would say just anytime handling pump parts, good practice to just wash your hands with soap and water.
Exactly. And that's what we call the accidental contamination. It's like when you touch something and then like a little dirty, and then you come and then you like basically it's contamination. So if it's warm, like it's very hot, it's in the boiling water, you can use the kitchen tongue.
The tongues, yeah.
Yeah, so that you can grab that, and then you can even like boil the kitchen tongue with it, like the part that's gonna touch, and then you just like go and grab it. And I just wanted to show what I use when I have to sterilize. So sometimes I have to sterilize parts or bottles when I go and see families. So basically, I always clean in my bowl, like bowl. And then I use that to kind of like remove everything I need to like clean, like
the brush, the pump brushes.
You see that how like it can collect humidity and be like, so that I put that in the dishwasher. So but because that's not a big deal to put that, and then so it's clean and sterilized after.
That's a good point, to also include your brushes, right, into the dishwasher, or for cleaning and sterilizing purposes, so that there's no collection of bacteria in there.
Exactly. So I do it once a day as well, so it stays clean, and I also let it dry on a clean towel. So yeah, and all the parts are like drying in this clean towel and put together when it's dry. So yeah, if like a mom needs it like right away, then yeah, just like removing the excess, but then you can pump. But if like you need, like you wash it and then you need it only once a day, then you put together once it's dry.
Yeah,
we don't want any moisture sitting in this bottle for several hours. I just want to tell, what do you need to wash, clean, and like how often? So I have a pump here, and it's a very well-known brand. And so basically, when it's put together, let me show you. When it's put together, it looks like this.
Yes.
Yeah. So it looks like this. It's like the flange. So now we are big onto having the right size to be able to pump more and better and be more efficient, less painful. So we are like sometimes putting insert into the flange. We have this valve here. We have the tubing connected to the pump. We have the valve, the duck bill here, and the bottle. Okay. So whatever may touch the milk should be washed and sterilized. Okay. So what does that mean? That means like the flange, the insert, and then what about the tubing? The tubing is not going to touch the milk, okay? What may touch the milk, it's this membrane, one side of this membrane. So this membrane should be cleaned as well, okay?
Yeah.
What I see in practice, I see that people are putting it together too fast and not let it dry properly. So that can be a problem because it can bring moisture in the tubing. If you see a little bit of like moisture, you can just like open up, turn on the pump and then let it go. But we don't really like that because it can go to the inside the pump and that you cannot go and clean it. So we want to wash and dry this membrane and then put it together. When you do that, you are like, you make sure that you have clean hands and then you make sure that you are gentle and then you put it back together so to do not affect your pumping because we want a good sealing and we don't want to break those little part here because it's the fragile part of the pump.
Thank you for pointing that out because, you know, we do have a lot of donors asking about which parts they need to wash and sterilize. So it's really nice to have that visual showing them that the tubing is not necessarily an area that needs to be sterilized or washed unless it's contaminated, like inside with milk or water particles potentially.
Exactly. But it should not be because this membrane, the goal of this membrane is basically to make a barrier in between.
Yeah.
So if you keep it clean and if you dry it well, then it should not be contaminating this tubing. So this tubing should be fine. But what I want like people to remember, it's like we put together a well-dried membrane and then we are careful when we put it back together, do not break anything. Okay. And then here, what I often see like in my practice, it's like, so this one, I use this one because it's not a clear one. It's easier to explain when I do online sessions with that, but most of the inserts now are clear. So we can see very well the nipple, okay? And to be able to center the nipple in like in the middle here. But what I see with the clear one, that a lot of people are forgetting to removing it and cleaning it separately, basically. So we want to clean the tunnel here, what we call the tunnel here, and then we want to clean the flange. We want to like go everywhere where the milk can go, but we also want to clean the insert. And then here we want to like remove the valve and clean the valve very well and be careful because here it can stay open and then if it stays open, then we need to change it. And then at the end, we want to clean the bottle. Okay. And then we sterilize everything we just cleaned.
Yeah. And cleaning, just to, you know, highlight, because sometimes that can be confusing for some donors or people. It's important to note that cleaning means soap and water, washing with soap and water before sterilizing. Because I know sometimes people will just rinse the bottle and then sterilize, but it's so important, as you mentioned earlier, to get rid of any of the residue in the bottle.
Exactly. So the cleaning part, you will see when you pump, then the milk is really rich. And sometimes if you wait long enough, then you can see a separation in the in your fridge, right? So the fatty part on the top is really, really like
the cream.
Yeah, it's a cream. And then you can like once you put it back together, you give that to your baby or you freeze into the bag.
Yes.
You look at your bottle and then you can still see the line. So what does that mean? It means there is residue. And sometimes you cannot see the residue, but it's all around here because you had a drop. And we really want to remove that because that's like 90% of the job. The 10% is going to be the sterilization to like basically make it safe. Recommended for babies under 2 months. It's recommended with immunocompromised babies or like preemie babies. And that's exactly the population for this milk to like, that's the destination of this milk, basically.
Correct.
That's why we want to be safe.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Um, yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about, that was for like the cleaning and sterilization. I
Mhm.
don't know if you think about anything else, Fatima.
No, you covered it all. I think we really, covered the area of how to clean your pump parts using soap and water to wash, sterilizing, showing the different parts. I think the tubing is so important for people to, not they don't necessarily have to clean that unless they're visually expecting, making sure there's no water particles or mold or anything inside of those tubings.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you've covered it all.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple other.
Yeah, I just want to, just like a quick thing, if you want to replace in the medulla, if you want to because you are afraid to lose this little part, or if it's too difficult
Mhm.
to clean, because I know that, like, I'm always thinking about time consuming. So
Yes.
if it's too time consuming, if like you lose it, then you don't know what to, like, how to pump, because like that's the main part. So you can, if you are using medulla, the medulla one, then you can switch for this one, and then I can
Mhm.
show you. I go back to my pump, and then you can change for the Spectra one, or the
Spectra
equivalent to
one.
the
Okay.
Spectra, and then it works well too.
That's
Okay,
great.
that's the one thing. And oh, and another thing I wanted to tell you, just because like it's my thing, but even when it's a brand new set, because sometimes we want to change the set, we don't know if the tubing was kinked or like damaged, we want to change the set. And I always encourage to, everything's gonna touch the milk. I always encourage to wash it with warm and soapy water and then sterilize, as even if it's brand new. I just
Mhm.
wanted to.
Yeah, thank you. And I think there was another point that, maybe you can touch upon is having an extra couple sets of pump parts just to ease the process of cleaning. Because as we know, these are busy moms with, a child or children, working moms, and, relying on just one pump part or parts can be a bit challenging with washing and reusing those pieces.
So there's a couple of things that I really like. Sometimes I tell people to save time and just have like a little bit more flexibility.
Hmm.
So having two sets mean that the two complete sets of a part. So basically, it's like what I call set.
Hmm.
It's the flange, the insert, or like the flange that is your exact size.
Yes.
Um, so this one is like a pretty small one, but you
Hmm.
would be surprised how many people would use this size. And having like two sets allows you to wash, sterilize, or wash and get it
Hmm.
dry, depending on where you are at. If you need to sterilize one, then you have one clean and sterilized ready to go.
Yeah, which is
Also,
great.
because what happened? Sometimes you are like ready to pump, then you go fast, you are on the phone, you are like
Hmm.
talking, you are doing something else, then you go fast and then you drop it on the floor. What do
Hmm.
you do now? Because it was on the floor. The dog is around, the cat is around. You are you are not just pumping just like this. You are pumping, so you
On
want,
the go
yeah,
sometimes.
you want, exactly. You want to be like sure that it's clean, or you drop that in the car. So having a second set and then just like
Rotating.
rotating, it's
Yeah.
super important. I
And
think.
sometimes, just having that multiple, like two, or even honestly, depending on how often you're pumping, like even having three sets so that you can pump and then set it aside in that basin with soap and water, and you can actually wash it thoroughly later. You can use the other set and then move on to the next. And then towards the end of the day, or maybe after your third pumping session, you can wash all the pump parts together. So it really does ease the process a bit.
Exactly. Another thing that can ease the process as well, in my opinion, when you are a little bit busy, or like you don't have, because sometimes it happens, you don't have the
Mhm.
bottle. just check on the bags that you are using. So some brand have, they have like a little thing, like a little, so this one is like, it's been like a while I have those bags, but sometimes there's a little sign here.
Mhm.
But basically it says that you can pump directly. I think Medela make one with like a little hook that you can
Mhm.
hook on at the bottom. But those one, basically what you can do, you can just open the bag and then get
Yeah,
pump like this. And
that's
then
so
it's
great.
pretty tight, but you can pump directly. So I don't know, I'm just a
No,
little,
I can see it. It's
you
perfect.
can see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, instead of a bottle, you can put the bag, because what makes the suction, it's not the bottle. It's not like the bag can be open, it's fine. What makes the power of the suction is your duct bill, like the valve, the white valve that I was like talking, and
Hmm.
that's the one that is it's key.
Yes.
So you don't need to have a bottle. You can pump directly on the bag. So what you want to make sure it's not like not moving too much, because you don't want to pull on it and then just like
Hmm.
get it. But the newer version of those bags are slightly tighter,
Hmm.
slightly tighter.
To give a more of a seal, does it like seal on
It's like
the
just a
top?
little bit of more
Okay.
resistance, but these
Okay.
ones are already like good, but just a little
Yeah.
bit of resistance. And then the only problem with that, you don't really know how much you pumped. It's going to be a guess, like, because
Hmm.
the lines on it are not super precise. But yeah, pumping into the bag, it's
That's a
clean.
great hack.
And that's clean, because you
Yes.
sometimes can see on like social media some crazy act. I can't speak anymore. You can see some crazy stuff, and also sometimes I see stuff that I really don't like. For example, combining the milk at two
Oh,
different
yes.
temperatures. So the
Yes.
milk that is in the cold
Hmm.
container, and then the milk that was just pumped and
Freshly pumped.
freshly pumped. So one is cold and one is body temperature, and they combine both, and that's a no-no. We don't want to do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And that I see sometimes with the new like gadget that they are selling online. So
Hmm.
I highly prefer to have you pump in a bag. Then once it's kind of like you are done, you just remove,
Feel it. Yes.
you get the air out, you seal both lines very well, you make
Hmm.
sure it doesn't, and then you can put that in your little cooler with your ice pack, versus having those like devices who
Yes.
kind of pushes you to make mistake in term of like combining two different temperatures.
Temperatures. No, that's a great hack. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Estelle. And because you just mentioned the bag, and I know you're probably going to go over this a little bit more later, but also important, like it's great to just be able to seal it and put it in the fridge. But let's not forget to date it. That's the most important piece of, when you're packing your milk is to, you don't have to include your name, but at least minimum having the date on there is so important.
Yes, actually. So if you don't have a pen because you are in your car and everything, but in my opinion, nothing should be going into the freezer or into your fridge without a date.
A date, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's the minimum. If you have
Hmm.
one thing to write, it's the date.
The date.
I have often the question, is that important to give the baby the milk that I pumped in the morning? Should I write the time? It's okay. Like
Yeah.
the time, what I always say, it's the date. The date is important. Why?
Yeah.
It's because we have guideline in terms of like how long this should be in the fridge or in the freezer, what
Hmm.
temperature. So it's so important to get the date. If
I
there is
agree.
only one thing, and another thing, freeze flat. So
Yes.
like
It
some,
takes it takes up less space.
exactly. And then you can have, when you order, like when you line it up, then you can
Hmm.
have an order from the
Earliest date,
Yeah,
oldest, yeah,
oldest on the front and the newer on the back. And then that's also very helpful for you, I guess,
it
to
is.
have a like
And
to
then
know the
also for yeah, for the moms who are sending us the milk, unfortunately when we get milk bags with no dates, we have to toss the milk, and that's not our favorite thing to do, right?
yeah.
It's such a waste. I mean, every drop that, we get is so important, so critical for the babies that we serve. And so important also for your baby, for your purposes of, tracking whether your milk is expired, and, in case you're taking any medications on a certain day and you can't give that milk to your baby, just really important to always put the date on there.
Yeah, even though if you don't know exactly how much is in, it's
Mhm.
fine because you're gonna learn, you're gonna be like really, you kind of know after a while how much is in the bag. Like,
Mhm.
oh, this one is a thin bag when you just like freeze it, lay flat. Oh, this one is a thin one. I'm gonna need two. When you give it to the milk bank anyway, you're gonna just like measure everything, so that's fine.
Yes,
So that's the volume is just to have an idea, but you will
yes.
have an idea by touching the bag. But the dates, so it's so
So
important.
important. Yeah.
Yes.
And earlier you had mentioned the combining of two temperatures. I just want to quickly go over that, because we do have donors who have this practice of what they call the pitcher method, where, they have a jar or a pitcher of milk in the fridge, and probably in like a 24, 48, even I've heard 72-hour time span, they're pumping milk, pouring it into this big jar or pitcher, and it's not a recommended practice. Mainly for the concerns or the worry about growth of bacteria. Specifically, as you mentioned, Estelle, is when you're combining the two temperatures. That's the piece that really concerns us. So, do you want to touch upon that a little bit, like the importance of chilling the milk before combining it? Our practice is to really encourage and educate our donors to always, pump milk and store it away, whether it's in the fridge or directly into the freezer. And if you are doing the pitcher method, depending on your practice, we can accept that milk, but we really encourage like moving forward to not do the pitcher method. But if you want to talk a little bit about why it's so important to chill the milk before you combine it to the pitcher that has cold previously collected cold milk.
Yeah. So what we are talking about, it's like, for instance, you feed your baby in the morning, then you go and you pump. And
Hmm.
then later during the day or the next day, that happened. And then people are pumping again. And then they are like once they have like 2 4 bottles, they want to combine the milk. And then you have one milk who was in the fridge, and then you have one milk who is body temperature.
Hmm.
And then it's not only for the pitcher method, it's like for a lot of things that you can also find online on Instagram or whatever.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I've seen people like pumping several times in those kind of bottles that are cold, and then basically they are pumping manually in it, then they go like on the go with their babies, and then they
Hmm.
kind of like pump again in the same bottle, and that's warm on cold, and
Yeah.
that's not okay. And why it's not okay, it's because the difference of temperature kind of make like a shock, and then it just increase the risk of having bacteria growing during
Mm.
this kind of like
Period.
moment that
Hmm.
the milk is kind of like bringing back to higher temperature and then cooling down again, bringing back to
Mm.
higher temperature and cooling down again. And bacteria kind of love it, but we don't like it.
Yeah.
So the like especially like what I am thinking, it's also for people who are pumping like small amount of milk and they
Hmm.
want to combine. So what I usually say that if you want to combine, you combine in one, then you put in the freezer, because sometimes it's just like 2 different sessions. It's like the one from the morning and the one from the middle of the day, and you can
Hmm.
understand that they don't want to put like less than an ounce every time in a bag. So what I
Hmm.
say, yeah, you put your milk in one bottle because you
Mhm.
had your two breasts, then you combine in one bottle. It's okay, same temperature. You
Yes,
put in the fridge. Then the next pumping session, you do the same. You combine in one bottle. Then you put in the fridge. And then 2 hours later, when the two bottles, the one that from 8 a.m. and the one for 1 p.m., then you can combine together. But before that, you can't.
correct. Yeah. No, that's great.
That's what
Thank
I
you for going.
explain usually.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think, it's important to go over that because I do hear that, a lot of families do that for, the purposes of convenience, and just, potentially at the end of the day, batching all the milk and then freezing it in one period. So, um, I'm glad that we went over that. I think we've touched upon a few items related to pumping, cleaning your pump parts and storing milk. There was one mention of I believe it was the fridge method. We slightly touched upon it. So maybe we can go over that just a little bit more. What I would like to focus on is the importance of also cleaning the Ziploc bag. If a donor or someone, it could be any mom who's pumping,
So
if
I
they,
think,
yeah, if they were
sorry.
to, no, that's okay. If they were to use the fridge method, again, um, not a practice that we highly encourage. However, if someone is using the fridge method, we have to really focus on how they're cleaning,
So
right?
what you are referring to, it's the fridge hack, I guess. It's like,
Yes,
yeah, it's
correct.
basically when you are pumping,
Yes.
get your two bottles, then you put in one or like in another container, whatever, in the fridge. And then you get, let me get my stuff. Then
Mhm.
you get your flange and your bottle who are like is empty. And then to save time, you take like a 1 gallon Ziploc, you put it in, and then you place it in the fridge.
Mhm.
So what I usually like when parents we are talking and we are evaluating, because sometimes pumping is really time consuming, and then we are trying to figure out how we can have the best results and not spending the whole day washing, cleaning, and stuff.
Yes.
So sometimes this hack comes into the discussion. So what I usually recommend is first like you need to have like nothing like once you pumped, you don't want that to be contaminated. So the dog doesn't come and lick the flange, the cat is not around. I'm sorry, I'm just like a little
No, but it's
upset with
possible,
that.
right?
But like how many people do have pets at home?
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Or like your toddler
Or
coming
the toddler, exactly. I was
watching.
just gonna say the toddler who loves to put everything in their mouth.
Exactly. So the thing is, we want that to be in the fridge as soon as possible,
Yeah.
and then you take it out, and then you place it on the breast, and then you
Mhm.
pump. So a few things. First, you want to do not have like milk dripping everywhere. So
Mhm.
if you need, you take a clean paper towel and then you just wipe it around. Then you place it in a 1 gallon Ziploc bag, and then you place it in the fridge. But you want to replace a Ziploc bag as well. You don't want to clean and sterilize that every day and not replacing the Ziploc bag because a Ziploc bag can get like one drip or two of
Drops of
milk.
milk, yeah.
And I highly encourage to do that for only a few sessions and not waiting 24 hours, just because
Mhm.
like if you wait 24 hours, it like if you think about it, it can be like up to 8 times in and out. And then,
Yeah.
like what we were talking about, like bacteria, like you every time it comes back to room
Mhm.
temperature. So like a few times, that's what I always like say, okay, to save you a few like
Pump
minutes.
sessions, yeah.
Yeah. But don't forget to replace the Ziploc. And then it's not for everybody because when you get it out of the fridge, sometimes the cold sensation on the breast is not the best sensation. So it's also like a point.
Yeah. I think it's really dependent on, what I've seen happen is sometimes with working moms, if they have they're working in a certain setting and they don't really have access to washing their pump parts after every session, that this fridge hack seems to be a good solution for their situation, and that's completely understandable.
Exactly. If you can keep it in the cold, like a
Yeah.
fridge, that's an option.
Yeah.
And so we like it's totally fine, I think, to talk about it, just like making sure
Mhm.
it's not used too much and
Mhm.
in every circumstances.
Great. Well, we've covered a lot here, Estelle. Looks like we can, you know, quickly go over how milk can be transported from home to the milk bank. And I can go over some options that are available. Here at Mother's Milk Bank, we have a couple of services available as far as whether it's pickup from home, meaning by a driver from Mother's Milk Bank. We are also partnered with FedEx, who does pickups from the donor's home as well. And then we have collection sites through throughout California and a few out of state as well that allows donors to drop off their milk. But if you're in the Bay Area, meaning Alameda County, Santa Clara County, in the Peninsula region, you have the option to schedule a home pickup, and we'll have a driver come by to pick up milk from your front door. You would pack everything, make sure that, your milk is, properly packed and stored in a cooler, or we can bring you a cooler. You can request a cooler and you would just place it into the cooler if we're bringing it to you, or if you have a cooler, and we'll have our driver pick it up. It's a great service. People love it. And then also the other option is to pack your milk in the cooler that we ship to you, and then you can call us and we'll schedule the pickup. There's usually a 2 to 4 hour window of pickup time, and the driver will come by to pick up the milk. We provide all the instructions and all the materials needed to pack your milk. This includes the cooler. It includes like a large bag that you pack your milk in there. It includes the tamper seal, the illness report, and that's actually a really important piece that we'll talk about in a little bit. But all the material that you need to pack your milk is included with your cooler that you receive from us. So yeah, those are a few options. And the collection sites, if you're looking to drop off at a collection site, go to our website, mothersmilk.org, and we have a list of all of our collection sites there. It's a great convenient location, depending on where you're located, to drop off milk. The other, I think there was one area that maybe you want to touch upon, Estelle, before we continue to move forward, because I know, we're getting close to, the end of the session, but if you want to briefly talk about like CDC recommendations on timeline for frozen milk versus, leaving milk in, because I know that question comes up a lot. We'll briefly talk about that, and then we'll go over staying donation ready long term. And that's
Yeah.
giving some little tidbits on how to collect a little bit of milk every day so that you can make a big impact.
Yeah. So basically, what are the guidelines? And in my care plan, I really I always give that when we are introducing pumping, or when we are speaking about pumping. And I've recently had this question coming up: how long can my milk can stay out? Because I don't know if you heard about the new research that said that up to 12 hours, or I don't remember, 12 hours, but those guidelines are just like not in place yet. We are still with the guidelines where we used to call that the rule of four.
Yes.
And why? It's because when we do have research, it takes a little time to go into the official
full implementation. Yes.
Yes, because we have to verify. We have to make sure, because the guidelines in place right now are still like good and are safe. So if we want to change the guideline for like a national, we need to make sure that works.
Yes.
We don't want to come back to the previous guideline with like, oh, we have so many incidents, right? So we are still, even though we could heard that there's like maybe at some point we will change, we have no no idea when's going to happen
Mhm.
and what will be the new guidelines. Right now, we are still on the rule of four. So mean that room temperature, 4 hours, fridge, 4 days,
Mhm.
and freezer, better, like freezer means 0 degree Fahrenheit and below,
Mhm.
better 6 months up to 12 months. And I would just like put a little note here.
Mhm.
The way that it's frozen, the way that it was collected, the way that it's frozen, and if it's in a freezer that you don't open and close every day, like once a week,
Yes.
it makes a difference if it's in the door or if it's like in the
Mhm.
body of the freezer. So 6 months best, 12 months acceptable.
Correct.
And for the moms who are on the go and pumping, um, if you are pumping, like it's always what I tell my clients.
Mhm.
If you are thinking about pumping, one thing is like get a good cooler. Like, I don't know, even though if it's not like the cooler that is made by the brand who makes your pump, that's fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
But there's like very good coolers. I have some brand in my brain, but that the one that you can go to the picnic, very
Is
good.
it the igloo ones or
The Igloo and the Yeti.
oh the Yeti? Yeah.
Mhm. And then look at the very good ice
I
packs.
yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
some
helpful.
ice packs have this kind of gel, and then you can keep it forever,
Yeah.
not just for breastfeeding. And then those very well insulated cooler with ice pack, then you can have, if it's like 40 degree Fahrenheit and below, then you can keep it for 24 hours. So mean that if you are leaving your house at 6 a.m. in the morning, then you come
Mhm.
back at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. at night, and then your milk is inside, it's good.
Yeah. No, that's great. And then lastly, if you want to just share that little a little tidbit on a habit to have to make that big impact as a pumping mom who's interested in donating, what would that be? And then we can, after this, we can transition over to our Q&A
Mhm.
as we're, getting close to that 1 hour mark.
Yeah. So everything, like if you already have your baby, then one thing works well. It's be regular. Regularity. It's like a rule, like for sleeping, for
Yes.
eating, for whatever. Once you have a baby, you know that.
Oh my goodness, the routine and the schedule is everything.
Exactly. So your body is the same. Your body doesn't have a clock. Your hormones don't know if you're gonna like do this or that. So basically being regular or having like kind of it doesn't have to be like on the dot, but having a little bit of regularity, it's good.
Yeah.
So for moms that can pump a little bit of an extra. I always said that try to pump first thing after you fed your baby in the morning, for instance. You can pump like a little of an extra, or last thing at night. But maybe just like getting one pumping session and dedicating it for the bank, the milk bank.
Mhm.
And that's like even if you do 2 or 3 ounces, then after a month, you are really close to be 100 ounces, like
Yeah.
really close.
Yeah.
So, like just be regular and
Mhm.
just do it slowly. We don't want someone who pumps like 10 times a day for 3 days and then nothing after. It's just being regular and
Yeah.
just
Just that
little,
small amount every
yeah,
day will make a
exactly,
big
little
impact.
by
Yeah.
little. And actually, at first, that's what I tell my clients, that
Hmm.
you do it and then you make your stash, because sometimes like most of the people who are contacting me for
Hmm.
pumping, they want to build a stash for when they go back to work,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But then they figure that once they do it, it's just in their routine,
Yes. And
and
it's
then
doable and they're just
it's doable.
amazed by the output that they have with their milk.
And
So
they're like, oh, I have 20, I have 30, I have 50, I have 100, I have 200.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh yeah, I can give my
Yeah.
milk now because like just in a couple of months I did like a good stash and then I have enough for my baby and I have enough. Having too much at home doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so it's just that one extra pump a day that will
Exactly.
make a big difference. So
Exactly.
thank you
Huge.
for sharing. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And then one thing I want to just follow up on is when I had mentioned earlier the illness report, when you're sending your milk in to us, whether it's a home pickup, FedEx, or dropping off at a collection site, it's really, really important that you fill out that illness report. It is included in the cooler. And if you don't have it for whatever reason, always feel free to reach out to your donor coordinator who you have access to via email, or you can call them. And this question, the illness report, is really to check in to see if there's been any changes in your medications and supplements that you're taking, if you've had any procedures, any illnesses in the home for yourself or the family member. And this is really for the safety and protection of the milk and for the babies that we serve. Oh, are you okay? I don't know what happened there for a second, but so it's just really important to send that illness report, but also we have a practice of doing a 2-month follow-up with all of our donors, meaning we check in with them every 2 months to see how they're doing, to see if there's been any changes with their health, lifestyle history, and staying on top of those 2-month follow-ups, meaning responding to us and filling out the illness report is so important so that you're ready for your next donation. We will go ahead and transition over to the Q&A section. Let's see if we can access the questions
Yeah, I
here.
see that. I see it. I think there's a question for you.
Perfect.
Is there a minimum amount of milk or frequency of donation that is required to be a donor? What are the requirement or guidelines? For
Mhm.
example, is month that was frozen 10 months ago accepted?
Great question.
Is milk.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So we do require 100 ounces is the minimum requirement. If it's slightly less than that, that's okay for like the first time donation. And if you plan to be an ongoing donor, it's not an issue at all. And we typically recommend we accept milk that is 9 months out. And depending on, what's really happening with our inventory and how much milk we have and how much milk we're sending out to the hospital, there are some rare cases where we will accept milk that is 10 months out, but really it's 9 months is what we require. Milk that is about 9 months out from expiration. So hopefully that answers the question. If you have any additional questions, please send them here, or you can also email us or go onto our website. The next question that I'm seeing here, sorry, I'm just gonna make sure that we check that question off. How often do you recommend to change the tubing or valve? Estelle, that's for you.
So I usually highly encourage to do a visual check before every pumping session. Why? It's because you can have like a little crack here and that would affect your suction, and that you cannot pump with that because you won't drain your breast very well. So what I usually encourage is to get a set like the tubing and the everything ready in your kitchen cabinet, and then just in case you are having an issue with your set. And then really the valves, they can last for a long time. The key it's this one and
The
how
valve.
it's sealed. Yeah, so I cannot give you a specific number because you have the brand, this, like for instance, those ones could be the Spectra one, and then you have the Maymom, and then you have a list of like Legendary Milk. You have a list of on Amazon that you can order from, and I cannot guarantee how good is the silicone and how good will be the suction. So I usually say that every time you see a change in your output, or like if you need to increase the time on your pump, think about that. Think about changing. In average, if you are and also it depends on how many times a day you are pumping. Someone who is pumping one time, some people who are pumping 8 times, it's not the same use. It won't wear as fast. So wear off as fast. So what you want to do, it's like check the integrity and then think about changing regularly a few weeks. I cannot precisely tell you how many times, but I would say in average 4 to 8 weeks. It's a good idea to have.
Just do a little check.
Yeah. Anyway, you never put a date on it, so it's hard to remember when you changed it. So really, the visual check and then checking your output is, I think, the best to keep an eye on.
Great. Thank you for answering that. There's another question for you, Estelle. Yeah. A great question. What are your thoughts on hands-free pumps? Is the suction the same as pumps? I think
yeah, I think the hand pump, this one, are underestimated. I think they are wonderful.
It's a good replacement of the hospital grade pumps, right? For the hands-free one.
The problem, it's really good because it's like not really complicated. It doesn't have 100 parts, and then it's easy to carry in your bag, and then it's nice. It's really gentle when you are engorged, for instance. So it's nice. You have less chances to hurt your nipple. Really, I love it. The only problem, it's time consuming because you do only one at the time. But I kind of really like it. I think it's underestimated. And then basically, like, a lot of people don't even know how to use it. So basically you stimulate with the little part here. You kind of like, you have your hand here, and then I don't know where is my fake breast, but somewhere. but you just like pump fast, you stimulate. Once you see the lead down, then you can go with this one. You just want to make sure that you just like drain, let the milk come out, and then when you don't see it again, then you just go fast. I think it's wonderful. I think once you have that in your bag, you don't have to carry your electric pump with you if you go to whatever, get with your friends or whatever. You don't have to carry the big bag heavy with the pump. However, the downside, it's like you have to do on one side and then the other. I had clients, they were draining their breast and having more in 10 minutes than with the electric pump. They were responding better. And that will be different than your neighbor or your best friend.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another question on here that I can answer is it recommended to clean my breast between breastfeeding and pumping? Is wiping with a baby wipe sufficient? The only time that I see myself recommending anyone to wipe their breast is if they're applying any medications or ointments on their nipple. How about yourself, Estelle? Anything that you'd like to add to that?
No, and I just think that a little bit of water and a cloth, it's good. You can wipe when you have like ointments or anything.
Yes.
Speaking about that, I know that often it's recommended with the new guidelines having good lubrication to pump. So what I recommend in my practice is just a teeny tiny bit of organic coconut oil. Just here.
It's the tiniest drop, right? Like we're talking about,
just basically the same thing as when you put like chopsticks. When you do 1 time, 2 times with your chopsticks, that's basically what you're gonna do. Like this with your finger, and then you just like place it just right here at the entrance, so it should not touch the milk, basically. I really, like, in my daily practice, I don't encourage the sprays that you can find on
Yes.
Amazon or online just because you don't really know what it is inside.
Yeah, what chemicals or what's in there and the ingredients
Yeah,
altogether.
they can claim it's organic, blah blah blah, but like it needs to be stable to be on the shelf or like to be sent to the client. It has to be stable. You cannot like place a mixture of whatever in it and then just like send it. It needs to have something that stabilize the potion basically.
Yes.
And so you never really know what is inside. And I'm like,
Mhm.
it's like, and most of my clients, the milk is for their baby, right? It's not
Yes.
for the milk bank. So I'm always like, so I like who don't have a little bit of coconut oil
In the kitchen.
in the kitchen. So just like a little wipe and then just like right here, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a great tip. So let's see here. There was I'm seeing one other question here. I was told that the breast pump wipes are not recommended for cleaning pumps. So breast pump wipes. Can you speak to this? Oh, so this is the mom who's on the go and on road trips and is asking about the breast pump wipes while she's traveling or on the
Oh,
go.
the breast pump wipes are just here to wipe the excess of milk. It's not cleaning. It's
Yeah.
not cleaning your. The only thing that will clean properly your device will be hot
Soap and
water,
water. Yeah.
soap. That's it. That's how
Yeah.
you can get, because it's like it goes everywhere. You brush it,
Mm-hmm.
but you cannot wipe adequately your pump.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really used that, and especially because I didn't exactly know what was
Yeah.
inside those wipes. But instead, I was using. Always had a few paper towel folded in my in a Ziploc as
Mm-hmm.
an extra, like just like having tissues, and then I was just wiping the outside with that and just making sure when I was putting back into my Ziploc
The
for the
fridge.
prepping session.
Yeah.
um, but that's what it is. I'm not a big fan of that. It's not really good. It doesn't go everywhere. It's not it
And
doesn't.
really, the concern is it's not technically following the CDC guidelines for washing with soap and water, and that's what's recommended to kill off or remove any bacteria in the pump. So thank you everyone for your questions. If there are any other questions, please feel free to go on our website and send the questions there, or you can visit us on Instagram and send your questions on our Instagram page. We're happy to, continue answering those questions. All is also welcome to go on our website if you're interested in donating and becoming a donor. Fill out a web lead or a web form that we have, or call us at our Milbank. The phone number is 408-998-4550. You can also find us on our website. And I want to say thank you to you, Estelle, for your time, your knowledge, and your experience. I really appreciate you being here. And I also want to thank all of our past, present, and future donors. Thank you for your generosity, your commitment to truly changing lives and saving lives every single day. I also encourage everyone here, like I said, to go on our website, visit our Instagram page, spread the word during this month, Human Milk Donation Month, but every month as well. Our work continues. I know that, during the holiday seasons, during the summer months, families are busy with travel, spending time with family. However, the need for donor milk doesn't change. The need continues, and it's growing. We're, just moving along, continuing to serve our hospitals and providing this critical food to babies, nutrition that they need. So thank you all for your time. Thank you, Estelle, for your time. It was great having you here.
Thank you so much for
You're
having me.
welcome. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.